بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
إن الدين عند الله الإسلام.
Somebody's asking about Muslim stand-up comedy. Actually, you brought up a point. The way the hadith reads, though, is like this. There's a hadith, translates to English like this, that the Prophet ﷺ was passing by some of his companions and he's found them to be laughing. Now, what they were actually doing was roaring with laughter, like this, cackling, not just like chuckling. They were really roaring and laughing. And he said to them, in his way, you know, the Prophet ﷺ was a very straight person, very soft, you know. He said, if you knew what I know, you would laugh less and cry more. Now, in our programs, we use a certain amount of humor. I do that intentionally for a couple of reasons. One is to find out, when I'm traveling, I want to see how much people know my English. Yeah, because if I go into a place and they just sit there and laugh after I do the first one, I go, okay, I need a translator. Or I need to speak real slow and make sure they got it and use some sign language. I've been in that situation. But for the most part, it helps to soften people up before you give them the medicine, is to give them a little bit of honey. Because some of the stuff I have to say hurts because we've gotten away from Islam in some places, and in order to get back, we have to make a little adjustment. Do you know what a chiropractor is? Do you know what a chiropractor? He works on your back and straightens it out. If you go to a chiropractor, you hear this noise, crack, 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 and they move your head, oh, oh, like, you know, and then it feels better, usually. Well, that's what we're trying to do. But you're talking about, is this a good source of entertainment? Actually, I have watched the first Muslim comedian who did this as a profession actually used some of the stuff from one of my videotapes. And I was talking about the first time I did salah in a masjid. And it's very funny for us today to look at what a new Muslim observes, because I was just explaining it. And it had some little lessons along the way, but it was funny. But they took that and then they began to make fun of the salat. They were making fun of people trying to pray. They were making fun of Islam itself and saying, I'm just kidding, but, and then make fun of Islam. I want you to ask your own scholars, don't just take it from me, but every scholar I've talked to said that is out of Islam. The person left Islam, lost all of their good deeds, and they have nothing with the law. And they need to make a new shahada and start over again. That's how serious it is to make fun of Islam. You cannot make fun or insult Allah, His angels, His books, His messengers. You can't joke and make fun of the Day of Judgment as though it doesn't exist. The Yawm al-Qiyamah. You cannot talk about the things of the ghaib in such a way as that you're discounting it to be nothing. Like, for instance, the jinn. This is very serious. So when you sent this up to me, I consider this to be a good reminder to me to be careful of what I do, and also to remind you at the same time, don't think I came out here to tell jokes. This is not my purpose. In fact, for the longest time, the speeches I gave were just like anybody else. But what happens is because the audience that we have today is so used to watching television and movies and listening to the radio and songs, that if we don't have at least some nasheeds and we don't have a little bit of humor, they won't come. They say, this guy's boring. And especially if we do anything in Arabic. It's like, oh, duh, I want to listen to that. And they might even insult the deen itself, not knowing that what was being said was the very thing that they need to hear. So yeah, we do have some in our program, which you obviously witnessed tonight. Some of what I say isn't that funny anyway, but to do it as a living, as somebody who wants to just go around and be a Muslim comic, I would highly recommend them to reconsider any other job. Even pizza delivery is going to be better than that. Because at least you know what you're into and you don't run the risk of saying one word. One word can take people out of Islam. It's a very dangerous thing. That's a very good reminder. Thank you, brother, for sending that up.